TFLev is brought to you by Flow Charger, maker of reliable, high-quality charging stations for your electric vehicle.
I think we're not going to be going much more than maybe a quarter mile. That's it.
No more
That's
power.
Yep, that's what's to the floor, and it's just slowing down, so whatever. Right, well, hazards on. Go as far as it'll let us, but this I think is where we're gonna have to pull over.
Hey everybody, we've got a really fun video for you today because this is the all-electric Mini Cooper SE, and we're going to see how far it can go on a single charge and a 100 to 0 ultimate range test. And then in part 2, we're going to see if you can recharge a stranded electric vehicle with the new all-electric Ford F-150 Lightning. So let's go load up and see how the Mini does.
So this electric Cooper is rated at 114 miles of range from the EPA with its 32.6 kilowatt hour battery. We've been charging it here at our office, and now we're going to do our range test.
So everybody, welcome Max to the channel.
Thanks, Tommy. Excited to be part of TFL now, and you'll be seeing a lot more of me on the EV side of things.
Absolutely. Now Max is going to be heading up a lot of our cool electric news and coverage, and he is going to be running the range test with me in the Mini Cooper SE. Let's take a look at the cluster and see what the Mini Cooper SE is estimating range-wise. Now we are filled up to 100% state of charge, and the computer is estimating 98 miles of range, but of course that is going to change depending on how you drive the vehicle. It might be higher if you are a gentle driver, it might be lower if you are a more aggressive driver, but that's what it's currently sitting at, and we'll see how spot on that is with our loop. You actually own a Mini, don't you?
Yeah, so I actually have the gas two-door Cooper S, so this model is very similar, but just happens to be an electric drivetrain.
Now we are leaving from our offices here in Boulder, Colorado, and we are going to head toward Fort Morgan, where we typically run our fuel efficiency and MPG loops. So what that means is a lot of kind of country roads, and then ultimately a lot of highway roads as well. So the trip is zeroed out, the consumption meter is zeroed out. We're gonna go into the green mode on the Mini, and then we are going to turn climate control, automatic 68 so we don't boil here.
As you can see here, we've got the Michelin Cross Climate tires, which are great for, well, all kinds of climates. You get hand-cooked summer tires from the factory.
Max, what is your first impression of the all-electric Mini?
Well, coming from my gas Cooper S, it's very quiet in here, you know, I'm pretty impressed. Mini is not really known, especially on the two-door models with the frameless doors, for having the best kind of NVH, but in this electric model, it's really nice and quiet in here.
It is. Now, the interior design is very similar to the gas Mini, as is the exterior style, and that's because it is, of course, based on the gasoline Mini. And that's a good thing because the Mini is a really fun to drive car. It's known for being zippy and affordable, and the new Mini Cooper SE is also zippy and affordable. Do you like the overall dash design?
I do, yeah. So this is basically straight out of the model I'm driving. I really like, you know, Mini is great at these customizations, like this aluminum kind of panel you get on the dash, and the comment my friends always make when they get in the car is, oh my gosh, your circular screen, what is that? People love that.
Now, can you explain why it's a circle?
Yeah, so Mini has a thing for circles, if you couldn't tell, especially on these newer models. They have circles everywhere from the AC vents to the screen. And the screen is a circle because when you adjust things, like let's say we wanted to change the AC temperature, you can actually see that follows the adjustments you make right on the LED panel.
And the reason that everything is a circle is because in the original Mini, the classic Mini, that's where the speedometer would be, actually in the middle of the car. So it's kind of a throwback touch. Now, our first section of the test is going to be a little bit of city driving before we start heading out on more rural roads. We're probably going to average 55 all the way up to 75 in areas, and hopefully we'll make it 49% out, 49% back, or 50% out, 50% back. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck.
The new Mini Cooper SEVs actually get 114 miles of EPA-rated range, which is 4 up from the original 110 you got with the first models.
We just hit 75% state of charge, and we've been doing mostly country roads averaging 55 to 60 miles an hour. And let's see how far we've gone on 25% state of charge. Let this guy go through the roundabout here. We've gone 34 miles on 25%, so we're doing pretty darn well. Outside temperature is 82 degrees. Feeling pretty good?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. We've been going through, no high winds or any kind of inclement situations, so I think this has been pretty ideal conditions for a range test.
Absolutely, but now we're going to head on to some interstate where the speed limit is going to be 75, and I think that's where we're really going to start burning through some of the battery. So the first 35 miles have been pretty chill. Now we're going to hit some higher speeds, and we'll see what happens. So Max, we are here at our turnaround point. We just left the highway, and we're gonna go through this pretty bizarre tunnel.
Yeah, it's quite the structure in the middle of nowhere.
Pretty cool, actually. It's like it's a real exit. Now, this is gonna be a bit of a nail biter. If you wanna kind of zoom in over here, you can see where we're at. We are sitting at 51% state of charge, which is not leaving us much buffer. So if you look there, we are at 51%. And let's go ahead and see how far we've gone. We have gone 60.2 miles. So, if you double that, 60.2 plus 60.2, 120. But we're gonna have to make it back to Boulder with 51%, and it might be slightly uphill. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a nail biter. But we'll try to maintain at least 70 miles an hour down the highway. And then we're just gonna basically see what happens. So Max, this Mini Cooper SE has a bunch of different drive modes. What are they?
Yeah, so we've got a sport mode, a normal mode, a green mode, and a green plus mode, which I believe kind of restricts your air conditioning to get the most range.
And it also tries to restrict your speed as well to, I think, 56 miles an hour. So we're not going to run in green plus mode because I don't think a lot of people will run in green plus mode. So we're in the green mode, which gives you slightly like swishier throttle response.
Yep.
Maybe tones things down a little bit. And that's what we're hopefully going to finish this test with. But how do you think the Mini is as a highway cruiser?
Well, for the range that it gets, you're probably not going to be taking this on the highway all the time, but when you do, you're not going to feel like you're in a death trap. This thing is, it's well insulated. It seems very stable at speed. It is just honestly a nice cruiser, and it's very comfortable in here with the interior as well.
Do you think it's quiet enough in here?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that this is anywhere kind of near luxury levels of refinement in terms of like the noise. We're hearing stuff here, but it's not, feels very secure, feels very planted. The driving dynamics are still great. We're in green mode, but we're still cruising along at nearly 70 miles an hour. And yeah, feeling very good.
Yeah, and here, I'll pass this truck and we'll get back up to normal cruising speeds. But it is not a bad kind of longer distance cruiser from a comfort standpoint. I mean, obviously it is a little small so when you pass these big rigs, but I like what you said. It does feel like you're in a very solid built Volt-like vehicle.
Yes, and that's what I think Mini's been good at ever since the kind of BMW acquisition and the F56 generation. These newer Minis, they really are quite stable.
Now, pricing wise, the Mini Cooper SE for 2020, the newest model year, starts at like 33 and a bit. This one, the 37 is equipped, but that's before the federal tax credit. So what do you think of the value? Is 37 before the credit pretty good for this car?
Yeah, pretty good, considering, if you qualify for that credit, you're looking at a price that is comparable, in some cases cheaper than a gas Cooper S. Definitely cheaper than the JCW kind of high-end gas model Minis you'd be looking at. So I think it actually, provided the range works for you, is a pretty great value.
Now, if you owned this car, is 114 EPA range enough?
So unfortunately, let's say I was looking at this as my only car, I don't think I would pick this as my only car. That said, where I see this making a lot of sense is, let's say there was, you had a family, this was your second car, this is the car I want to commute in the city, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, over 100 miles of range in the city is plenty. Most folks probably aren't driving near that if they're just commuting to and from work. It does have DC fast charging up to 50 kilowatts, which is pretty slow by 2022 standards.
Yeah.
But in a pinch, it could get you some charge to at least get home.
Exactly, and it's not a super huge battery to begin with, so it's not a major issue.
So one thing I will say is the ride is a little bit choppy, right? As we go over these bumps, you probably see the camera moving. This is a particularly bad section of highway. But these 16-inch wheels on these cross-climate tires actually help the ride a lot. This thing was a lot worse on the 17s with the Hankook summer tires. And I'm not really sure why they give you summer tires on a car like this, like a performance tire. You think that's kind of weird too?
I think it's kind of weird. A lot of manufacturers, I guess, you know, when they try to make a vehicle sportier, will give you those stock summer tires. It seems like Mini likes to do that. But I've noticed that my gas Mini 2, which I think comes with all seasons, you know, Mini's rides are pretty firm. That's why we're noticing these bumps on the highway. And a lot of people, you know, the first time in a Mini will complain, this is not, you know, a super damp vehicle. You could get a Corolla and it'll be more comfortable than a Mini in some respects. And, you know, with those kind of road bumps and shocks. That said, you do get the upside of the driver engagement because you're filling the road, clearly.
It is a very fun car to drive. You're absolutely right about this. I mean, if you wanted another affordable new EV, you'd be looking at like the Chevy Bolt, which actually has gotten a price decrease recently. So it's cheaper than the Mini and like a Nissan Leaf, but neither of those are going to be as engaging to drive.
Not as nearly as engaging to drive, and say what you will about the Chevy Bolt and Nissan Leaf, very practical vehicles, but not the most attractive. A lot of people come to Minis for their looks, their styling, and you really do get that with this car.
Now, I am a little worried whether or not we're going to make it back to the office, and we may end up having to cut to part 2, the emergency charging, quicker than we wanted, but we're just going to keep cruising here at normal speeds. We're doing 70 right now, and we'll see what happens. So Max, we are now exiting the highway. We are down at 24% state of charge, according to the Mini, and the Mini says we have 21 miles to go. And we've got a lot more than 21 miles to go, unfortunately, so hopefully now that we're back on some country roads, we could regain some of that efficiency. We are averaging, let's see, 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, which is pretty good.
Yeah, and we'll see if, you know, that lower speed driving is going to get us where we need to go.
Yeah, because otherwise we're going to be making an SOS call. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be a nail-biter. But overall, the Mini was a very comfortable highway cruiser.
Yeah, enjoying, you know, this Mini interior that feels familiar to me, and it is a Mini.
Although you don't like the Harman Kardon radio very much.
As you know, it's a funny thing. Mini will give you these upgrade options, but, you know, car audio systems are a mixed bag. This one, because of the amount of glass in the car, I feel like just isn't great. But I don't think most buyers of this car will care too much.
Do you like these kind of like wool-like seats?
Yeah, so I have the leather seats in my Mini, and these wool or kind of cloth ones are really nice, especially on this kind of hotter day. We do have the AC going, but it still is nice to have the this material.
And it's getting hotter for sure. The temperature's up to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. But the good news is, from an efficiency standpoint, the Mini does actually have a real heat pump. So great, especially in the winter time. And maybe we'll redo this test in the winter and see if the results are any different.
And we can leave those cross climates on.
Yeah, baby, that's right. Good point. Well, things are not looking good, so we turned around at 51% state of charge, but it turns out that this route on the way back was much more uphill than I think I was kind of expecting. My apologies, Max. So we are currently sitting at 10% state of charge, and let's see how far we are from the office. Round trip to the office is 120 miles. We are 18 miles from the office, so we have to make 10% the last 18 miles. And unfortunately, this is like a 2-lane country road where the speed limit is 55. People drive 70. So driving anything slower than about 50 is going to be dangerous. Now, maybe we'll go into Green Plus mode. Alright, Green Plus. So that shut off the air conditioning system. You can see that there. It's going to limit our speed. It's going to limit our throttle response. But, 9% now. But, I don't know. Maybe this will give us a slightly better chance of making it back to our charger at the office, which is, I also believe, the closest charger to our current location. So it's going to be a nail biter. Do you think we're going to make it?
Honestly, I'm starting to lose confidence, but we're going to give it our best.
Oh, back to 10%, we regen. Well, Max, things aren't looking good. We're down to 2% state of charge, still several miles to go. Now, typically what we do is we go straight down this big road and left on the highway. I think we're going to take some little back roads here, so if we do run out, we're not stranded on the side of a major highway. But yeah, I think we're going to be making a call for a F-150 Lightning rescue here. Just trying to be as gentle as possible. We are in Green Plus mode now. Who knows? Maybe it'll go 10 miles on 0% electricity. Maybe it'll...
Maybe there's a lot of reserve that, you know,
yeah,
we don't know about.
Maybe it's holding out on us. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see. And do you see that over there? You want to focus over there? That's a hill that we have to climb. There's no way around not climbing that hill.
Oh no.
So...
pretty soon we're going to be in the same shape as this cyclist here.
I think the cyclist might be going faster than us here pretty soon. Although, if you want to look at this, on the gauge cluster, Max, this is interesting. So do you see this bar on the left? These little notches that go to 100%?
Yeah.
That shows you the available acceleration, the e-power graph, and we still have 100% maximum acceleration at 2% state of charge. Now let's see how far we've gone. We have gone 111.3 miles, 1 mile of range. Ooh. And we have averaged, what's our kilowatt hour average? 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour, which is pretty good actually for a lot of highway driving. But 2% state of charge, 1 mile of range remaining. We're just going to keep the cameras rolling. There's the hill.
This hill is looking scarier and scarier the closer we get and the less range we have.
It doesn't look like much from the highway, but when you get up close to it. All right, now we're down to like 30% of available acceleration.
We might be getting a marginal benefit from the boxy USPS truck in front of us.
Should we draft the postal guy?
Yeah.
Still going though. We're still moving 47 miles an hour. See that? So the e-power has just, once we hit, 0% battery now. Come on, Mini. 114.6. Now it's still showing 3 clicks of e-power there. The car is not happy though. It's just flashing 0 miles and range severely reduced. It's just going back and forth. Hill, downhill. Come on, buddy. I think we're not gonna be going much more than maybe a quarter mile. That's it.
No more
That's
power.
run out. Yep, that's went through the floor and it's just slowing down, so whatever. Okay, well, hazards on. Go as far as it'll let us, but this I think is where we're gonna. Well, we are officially stranded on the side of the road here. Max has been a trooper. 116 miles we drove, but this is as far as we made it, and the Mini refuses to go any further. So in the next episode, car goes by, we're going to get the lightning out and see how long it takes to get us some juice into the Mini so we can get back to the office.